So I'll be presenting on affiliation and achievement, which is pages 448 to 451. So my first slide is about the need to belong, and I'm sure we all know about this just from life and experiencing social situations, but all human beings have the deep need to belong, which is known as the human affiliation need. And this is a basic human motivation for all aspects of life. And the book defines affiliation need as the need to build relationships and feel part of a group. And personality theorist Alfred Adler believed human beings have an urge to community. And when these psychological needs are met, our well-being is significantly improved overall. And then moving on to the second slide, which discusses the benefits of belonging. Social and attachment bonds and general cooperation boosted our ancestors' chances of survival. So this is sort of like natural selection in terms of social interaction patterns. And due to our innately social nature, we gravitate towards those who we consider cooperative and not necessarily, resistant to socializing with us. And the book described that having close friends can literally make us feel warm inside, as if we're holding a soothing cup of warm tea, which I found really interesting. And the desire to belong is stronger than the need to attain wealth. And lastly, for this slide, much of our emotional energy is spent and often exhausted reflecting on relationships which either actually exist in real life or are hoped for in the future. Moving on to slide 3. One's sense of self-esteem is an accurate measure of how valued and accepted one feels, both in their social circle and in new social settings. And a deep sense of well-being results when our need for relatedness is satisfied, as well as the basic needs of autonomy, which is a sense of personal control, as well as our sense of competence being met in terms of autonomy. And the majority of our social behavior seeks to find love and acceptance, not surprisingly, which ranges from shopping to diets to fitness to following certain trends at the moment. And what I found really interesting is the book's description of love being a natural painkiller. So feelings of affection activate brain rewards and safety systems, and pictures of loved ones actually activate the prefrontal cortex, which is associated with safety, thus decreasing feelings of physical pain. And strong social connections boost self-esteem, positive feelings, and social health, none of which is that surprising, but it is interesting. And on the other hand, also not surprisingly, social isolation can lead to mental and physical decline. And going back to love being a natural painkiller, it was really interesting because the book talked about a study in which those in pain were shown images of loved ones and showed that their level of pain actually declined. And moving on to slide 4 about the pain of being shut out. First, the book defined ostracism as the deliberate social exclusion of individuals or groups. And this can range from exile to imprisonment to solitary confinement to even something as small as a period of isolation when a child is put in timeout. And the feelings induced by ostracism are comparable to feelings activated in the anterior cingulate cortex in response to physical pain, which is why this phenomenon can lead to violent behavior and negative intentions that can often be seen in instances of school shootings, as well as cases of violent crime and other violent acts. And then moving on to slide 5, the last slide, just to sort of wrap up the psychological aspect of belonging or not belonging. On a psychological level, humans experience social and physical pain with the same emotional distress and symptoms, and thus these can be treated by the same drug, acetaminophen or other painkillers. And the pain of being socially rejected can lead to positive effects, such as obviously expanding one's social circle, whether that's meeting a new group of friends, or one example the book gave was even exploring one's religious faith, which I found interesting. I hadn't thought of that. And then on the contrary, negative effects of exclusion range from minor aggressive behavior to a lack of empathy since early stages of childhood, if one becomes left out constantly, and then even to violence based on chronic exclusion, which we see all the time in stories of criminals or people who become mentally unstable due to a chronic sense of not belonging and pursuing that feeling of being accepted and not getting it. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.